want to keep the house?
We'll have money.
Did you want to keep it though?
Well, I want to keep it, right, but I don't have any money to fix it.
Yeah, I was trying to fix it.
You know, and the roof was leaking,
Mm-hmm.
and the door messed up, broken. I got cold in there.
That's why we moved.
A lot of cracks and cold in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It's okay. This house is the house my mom and I grew up in. My dad too, but ever since I was born, I lived here. The house was probably falling apart even when I was a young lad. Years had passed. In 2011, my father died, and he was the one person who would maintenance some of the issues, even with my mom's significantly low income from Social Security. She had SSI disability. She still does now, due to her diagnosis of cerebral palsy and some other comorbidities. So from 2011 and on, her income was enough to keep up with the water leaks, the new one every few months or so. Keep up with the roof repairs, which damaged the ceiling, which caused leaking under the floor, which caused the wood to rot. It wasn't enough to replace that wood. It wasn't enough to change the broken windows so that the house may be better insulated. It wasn't enough to keep the house warm, increasing the heat, and it wasn't enough to keep the house cool during the winter. So, for many years, my mom and I weathered the storms of this house. Bear in mind, there's a lot of bad memories here, but this house is my childhood home, and I have deep connections to it. But it's no longer my house or my mom's house. Because in 2018, I left for college. She became a bit depressed about that move, and along with her comorbidities, the house withered. And as such, sometime in 2020, I came back and had her move to government housing in the midst of the pandemic. There was the first mistake. The mistake was I wasn't aware, because I was merely 20-something years old. I had not really paid attention to the bureaucratic rules of Social Security. But my mom, who was going through a mental health crisis at the time, did not solely think to report the move to SSI. Whether that be her fault, my fault, whoever's fault, someone proclaims that to be. I do think that it necessitates a bureaucracy that doesn't look into the conditions of what is right and wrong. It just followed a strict set of rules that caused significant pain and suffering from 2022 and on. Because in 2022, his house was withering and a family friend needed a place to be because their rich asshole of whoever was renting out to them decided they wanted to sell that property, and they kicked him out. So that rich asshole won, and someone had reached out to me just to have a roof over their head, and they hadn't known how to fix certain things, and I don't know if the home was condemned or not, but I allowed them to move in at no charge. I didn't ask my mom. I was kind of managing some of the stuff. Well, as such, it was there that I went to talk to a lawyer so that I may be able to manage the house. I wanted her to give the house to me, and he informed us that with her having SSI, that would not be allowed. And that if SSI or Social Security is not aware that she had moved out of the house years ago, we had a bigger problem on our hand. And all this happened while this individual was living here. And just like that, the relationship that rich asshole had with the person that moved here became the relationship I had with him. And I did not want that, because now I had to move him out yet again so that we could sell the house. And there was bickering between who could buy the house. And there was a rule in SSI, and there were certain situations for my mom that I needed to guarantee her survival. So ultimately, the house went to another rich asshole who benefited out of all of our misery. And I'll probably never own this house again. There will be a time where I probably won't be allowed to sit here and take in the memories. So, from the rich assholes to the government agency that doesn't give a damn, but to consider the matter at hand and follows the bureaucratic method written before it, to the absolute misery that existed long before. Nothing played out as I wanted it to. And even after the house was sold, Social Security then made a mistake that resulted in a year of absolute financial misery for both myself and my mother. All after subjecting us to the forced removal of the family home, which she would have never moved out of had she been able to afford to fix this damn thing. All of this played out because she couldn't afford to fix this, because no one gave a damn about her disability and her ability to survive. And in fact, after all of this, it felt like they would have rather her died than to ever get her Social Security back. And now she has no assets. She lives in government housing where she has to follow a stricter set of rules. Because, damn, if you're poor, you really don't have freedom. Especially if you're disabled. The story's long, complicated, and the details in it are vast, but there's so many things that could have saved this from happening. There's so much that could have prevented all of this. And it would have started long ago in Congress. But now I'm not sure if anyone cares. So